He said, I don't think he could win. I don't think he could win. He's too progressive coming from this state and what he's done in this state to win in any southern state, any red state. I disagreed, but no, this is a progressive African-American owned station, and I'm sure they like you, but he doesn't think you can win. What do you say to that?
It's one thing to land a punchline at a politician's expense, but it's another to burn him to the ground on live TV. And that's exactly what Bill Maher just unleashed. Once a vocal supporter of Gavin Newsom, Maher finally snapped, making it clear he's done defending California's crumbling leadership. On his latest show, he went after the governor with fire, exposing failure after failure. This wasn't comedy, it was a public execution of Newsom's reputation.
Gavin Newsom is the governor of California, home to 12% of all Americans and 50% of all Mexicans. On the upside, Newsom is the only governor, with the possible exception of Kristi Noem, who looks like they could do porn.
Did Bill Maher really just say Gavin Newsom's biggest legacy is looking like he belongs in the adult film industry? That's not a joke. It's a knockout from a man who once praised him endlessly. Imagine it, the governor of one of America's most powerful states reduced to nothing more than Hollywood looks fit for an X-rated set. Out of all the achievements Newsom brags about, Maher shredded them into a single punchline, and it spoke louder than any policy failure. When your loudest cheerleader roasts you this savagely, your political brand isn't just slipping, it's sinking fast.
I don't want to say he really wants to be the guy who steps in if the current nominee goes down, but he gets an alert on his phone every time Biden can't think of a word. The downside is that governor of California is kind of like being conservator for Britney Spears. They'll attack him on California's homeless problem, but there's a response to that. The homeless can live anywhere, but they choose California.
The truth is, California has practically rolled out the red carpet for the homeless. And who wouldn't take advantage of that? State laws don't just allow it, they practically encourage it, building a climate where homelessness isn't just tolerated, but openly embraced. But let's be real, this isn't compassion, it's pure chaos. Under Gavin Newsom, homelessness hasn't just climbed, it has exploded into a full-blown crisis. Instead of bold, practical solutions, his policies poured gasoline on the fire, turning sidewalks into tent cities and entire neighborhoods into sprawling camps. And the spiral doesn't stop there. His soft stance on crime, protecting offenders while victims suffer, has dragged California further into lawlessness. Break the law here, and odds are you'll walk away with little more than a slap on the wrist. Homelessness up, crime up, quality of life shattered. That's Gavin Newsom's legacy, chaos in designer packaging.
Of course, the knock on Gavin has always been that he's slick. Yeah, you know what? I'm okay with that. I notice slick is something no one has been accusing Biden of lately. Do you want good at talking or don't you? Newsom is the best communicator in the party with a history of standing up to bullies, and his name lends itself to the best slogan since I Like Ike. I'm having Gavin.
At last, Bill Maher is saying out loud what Californians have known for years. Gavin Newsom is nothing more than a polished performance. Slick, smooth talking, and oozing charisma on the surface. But underneath, empty air. Newsom has mastered the art of speaking for hours while saying absolutely nothing. He's the king of political rambling, weaving flashy speeches that dodge every tough question and disguise failure as progress. Sure, he can charm a crowd, but charm doesn't fix exploding homelessness, rising crime, or a collapsing quality of life. Time after time, he slips out of scandals with rehearsed lines and polished rhetoric. But is that leadership or just stagecraft? Do Californians need a governor who promises the moon and delivers dust? The people deserve solutions, not sound bites. And if even Bill Maher, once his loudest admirer, is finally pulling back the curtain, maybe it's time the rest of the country sees through the act too.
I was on KBLA yesterday, with my friend Tavis Smiley. I'm an investor and a supporter of that station. And he said, who do you want for running president? I mentioned, I think you'd be good at the job. Not this year, we know. No, I know. But he said, I don't think he could win. I don't think he could win. He's too progressive coming from this state and what he's done in this state to win in any southern state, any red state. I disagreed, but no, this is a progressive African-American owned station, and I'm sure they like you, but he doesn't think you can win.
Anyone with a shred of common sense can see Gavin Newsom has no shot at the presidency. Not after the wreckage he's left behind in California. His record is a disaster so glaring, no slick PR campaign can hide it. Across the state, frustration is boiling over as people voice their outrage at how far he has dragged California down. Once the crown jewel of innovation, business, and prosperity, the Golden State has become a place companies can't escape fast enough. Major corporations have packed up, hauling jobs and opportunity with them, while wealthy residents flee in droves to escape his reckless economic experiments. The middle class collapsing, costs of living skyrocketing, and the exodus breaking records by the day. But here's the ultimate twist. Even many Democrats are now admitting he's gone too far. When your own side starts branding you too extreme, your White House dreams aren't just fading, they're dead on arrival.
Look at the swing states. There's only 8 of them.
Right. Well, I mean, California is an interesting case study, isn't it? It's the size of 21 state populations combined.
Yeah.
2/3 of state is very deeply red. We don't need to be lectured on rural politics or border issues. I mean, in so many ways, these are familiar issues, and the issues of the heartland of the United States are very much a part and parcel of the work we're doing in this state. But look, I understand this notion that you're from the coast, you don't understand those things. You can't talk the language. You're not able to communicate, and you're not able to actually encourage and find that common ground.
No, it's stuff like there's a new law in this. I think we have way too many regulations and laws, as we've talked about. And this one, I think, says if you're a department store with over 500 employees, you have to have a gender-neutral toy department.
Yeah.
Stuff like that.
Here, Bill Maher nailed it. What's sinking Gavin Newsom isn't just homelessness or a wrecked economy. It's the non-stop woke carnival he's been proudly leading. Voters across America are sick of identity politics being shoved into every corner of daily life. And under Newsom, California has become the epicenter of it all. The state now flaunts some of the most extreme progressive laws in the country, and Maher exposed one of the strangest. Any toy store with more than 500 employees must include a gender-neutral section, because in Newsom's California, kids apparently can't just play with toys. They have to make a political statement while doing it, as if gender doesn't even exist. This is the kind of tone-deaf policymaking that makes everyday voters roll their eyes and think, this guy could never be president.
Too much government there.
That's an interesting one, because the department stores came to us supporting that, and they were the ones making a case for that. They were making us. They're already moving in that direction.
Wanted you to make a law about them?
Well, but they supported the legislation. It wasn't legislation that was enacted, that was initiated from my office, but it was legislation that came up with interesting support from the industry itself. But I understand how that's exploited, and good people can disagree. But that's not something we woke up and said, this is a top priority for the state, when we know what the top priorities are: homelessness, housing, the issues of crime, quality of life, and issues related to regulation and taxes, which are all top of mind.
And that right there is Gavin Newsom's slick talk on full display. The oldest trick in a politician's playbook. No one is accusing him of being blind to California's problems. Of course he sees them. Everyone does. Homelessness is exploding. Crime is rising in every major city. Taxes are suffocating families. Businesses are fleeing in record numbers. These aren't hidden flaws. They dominate the headlines day after day. The real problem isn't awareness, it's action. Knowing the house is burning doesn't make you a hero. It's grabbing the hose that counts. Yet Newsom hides behind buzzwords and polished speeches, pretending that acknowledging a crisis is the same as solving it, but it isn't. Words don't build homes. Words don't reduce crime. Words don't balance a budget. Action does, and California is still waiting.
And good job this year making it rain.
You're welcome.
Because
that was my legislative priority.
It was looking bad there for a while, and we still don't have enough water in the Colorado River and all this stuff. Yeah. And then whenever I read 80% of the water goes to agriculture. Almonds. Right. No one ever asked you about almonds? Oh, I'm going to ask you about almonds.
Yes, you heard that right. Nearly 80% of California's water vanishes into agriculture, and a massive chunk of it is guzzled up by almonds. Let that sink in. This is a state plagued by relentless droughts, scorched by wildfires every summer, and where residents are lectured to take 2-minute showers and watch their lawns wither. Yet behind the curtain, billions of gallons are funneled straight into almond orchards. Why? Because almonds are California's golden cash crop, and big agriculture has the clout to keep the taps wide wide open. So while ordinary Californians are told to ration like it's doomsday, corporate farms are draining the state's lifeline dry. The irony is brutal. In a land of fire and thirst, California's water isn't saving its people, it's growing nuts.
We grow a boatload of almonds
I'm well
here.
aware.
You know how much water it takes?
Many gallons.
1,900 gallons to grow a pound of almonds. Come on, man. Take on big almond.
Take on big almonds.
I mean, it's not like we don't have the water.
No.
But
You're right about it. It's not that we don't have the water. That said, the last couple of years were tough. I mean, but it's also where the water's falling and we're not capturing it. And we're not capturing those extreme years with these atmospheric rivers. Wets are getting a lot wetter, dry's drier, hot's getting a lot hotter. And so we've got to modernize our conveyance system. We've got to modernize our storage, not just above ground, but below ground. And so that's a big part of our focus and frame, including desalinization plants. We have 20 projects just on desal that we're working on today. So we put out a detailed water strategy that includes, by the way, getting that Delta Conveyance project back up and operational, and includes the first above ground off stream storage facility in half a century in the state, which, by the way, is being aided by a regulatory package I pushed forward to reduce red tape in the state of California.
When it comes to polished answers, no one dazzles quite like Gavin Newsom. The man could sell sand in the desert with that smooth delivery. At every press conference, every interview, he speaks as if he's reinventing leadership itself, promising bold fixes for every crisis. But peel back the flash, and the truth is far less impressive. He isn't solving the disasters Californians face daily. He's perfected the craft of political theater. Homelessness, still exploding. Crime, gripping the cities. Businesses, fleeing under suffocating taxes. And yet Newsom keeps insisting California is thriving. That's not progress, it's performance. His greatest skill isn't governing, it's spinning. And while speeches may draw applause, they don't fix streets, lower costs, or keep Californians safe. Words can dazzle, but they can't deliver.
you're good at this.
What?
See, I'm telling you're good at this job. But here's, I feel like the last couple of years you've like purposely picked this fight with the red states. I mean, the DeSantis. Yeah, but I don't want to live in the Civil War.
I agree with that.
You know what?
Well,
but you seem like you purposely want to set up this dichotomy between, oh, this is a blue state and that's a red state. Yeah. And I don't want to live in that country. I like Florida.
I'm with you. And by the way, I like Florida as well. I like all these states. I completely agree. I don't want to have a state of mind that's a constant fight or flight. We've gone through so much. We've been polarized and traumatized. This has been a tough 5-6 years across the globe, not just in this country. That said, I'm not going to sit back and watch. You made the point just a moment ago in your monologue. You got folks out there trying to bring us back to a pre-1960s world. America in reverse, rolling back voting rights, LGBTQ rights, women's rights, not just access to abortion, but contraception.
Gavin Newsom is as woke as they come. And if America makes the mistake of handing him the presidency, brace yourself. He'll drag the nation down exactly the way he dragged California for the last 8 years. Just look at the wreckage. A once golden state now drowning in homelessness. Businesses fleeing in droves. Sky-high taxes crushing the middle class. And cities swallowed by crime and addiction. California should be the model of prosperity with its wealth, resources, and innovation. Instead, under Newsom, it has become a cautionary tale of collapse. He's mastered the art of pushing woke talking points while ignoring the everyday struggles of ordinary citizens. If this is the blueprint he wants to sell to America, then it's a blueprint for decline. Slick speeches won't change reality. Newsom's leadership is a disaster dressed in designer suits. Strip away the media spin, the polished image, and the empty promises, and the truth about leaders like Obama and Newsom is plain. They thrive on charm, illusion, and theatrics, while the real problems, crime, homelessness, borders, and the economy spiral further out of control. Obama sold hope but delivered division. Newsom promised a California dream but left the state in ruins. And now some want to give him the keys to the country? Imagine a man who couldn't manage one of America's wealthiest, most resourceful states being elevated to the highest office in the land. If this is leadership, then the United States is marching straight into decline, because what Newsom perfected in California isn't progress, it's performance. And performances don't build safer streets, lower costs, or restore prosperity. They destroy distract, they dazzle, and in the end, they disappoint. America cannot afford another illusionist in power. Not now. Not when families are struggling, communities are unraveling, and trust in leadership is already at an all-time low. We don't need a salesman in designer suits. We don't need speeches dressed up as solutions. We need leaders who solve problems, not performers who thrive on applause. California was the warning shot, a glimpse of what happens when rhetoric replaces responsibility. Ignore it, and the cost won't just be California's, it will be America's. So as voters look ahead, they should remember one simple truth. Speeches fade, illusions shatter, but consequences last. Don't hand the spotlight to another actor pretending to be a leader. Choose problem solvers over performers. The future of the nation depends on it. And that wraps up today's video. Thanks for watching. Share your thoughts below, and don't forget to like and subscribe. Until next time, stay sharp, stay aware, and stay tuned.